Today, we're diving into something that looks like an ancient spiritual text, but, it feels more like a modern engineering schematic. It's this incredibly detailed blueprint, not for a machine, but for the mind itself.
Okay, so take a look at this. At first glance, it's just a beautiful, really intricate ink painting of a tree, right? But what if its main purpose wasn't just hang on a wall, but to actually be used? This thing, called the Zhu Shao Xinfa diagram, kind of throws us a curveball. It's asking a simple question. Is this art, or is it a user manual? And you know what? The answer is pretty straightforward. It's described as, and I quote, an engineering blueprint. I mean, think about that. A schematic that's designed to map the entire cosmos and the microscopic flow of energy inside the human body. So yeah, we're not just looking at a pretty picture here. We are analyzing a full-on visual system. All right, so to really get our heads around how this blueprint works, here's what we're going to do. We'll start with the whole blueprint for the mind idea. Then we'll map out its three main parts. After that, we're going to decode its very soul, the tiny details in the leaves. And then we'll actually learn how you're supposed to use it for contemplation. Finally, we'll tie it all together and see how it's this perfect blend of art and engineering.
First up, let's really dig into this core idea of a blueprint for the mind. How do you create a visual system for something as abstract as spiritual practice?
Well, the diagram's logic is built on a really solid foundation. It maps out three distinct realms of existence: heaven, earth, and, well, man, right in the middle.
You can see it right here. The whole thing is composed along this clear vertical axis. And that's not just an artistic choice, it's totally structural. The diagram is deliberately split into these three dimensions, and each one has its own meaning and even its own distinct artistic style. This table really helps break it all down. See, at the very bottom, you've got the earth realm, which is all about the foundation, stillness. Then, in the middle, that's the human realm, the vibrant tree where all the spiritual work actually happens. And way up at the top, that's the celestial realm, the goal, right? A state of utmost emptiness. It's literally a visual journey from the ground up to the final destination.
Now let's zoom in on what I think is the soul of this whole diagram, the 64 leaves. This is where you see its true engineering precision. It's just incredible.
There are exactly 64 leaves. And that number is absolutely not an accident. It corresponds directly to the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching, that ancient Chinese text that maps out all the fundamental states of existence. So each and every leaf represents a specific energy or a specific state of being.
And get this slide just shows how much data is packed into every single leaf. They've got these unique shapes inspired by classic objects. They're marked with golden hexagrams. They even have tiny dots to show which system they belong to. But here's the part that just blows my mind. The veins on the leaves are drawn to perfectly match human meridian pathways, the body's energy highways, and they're all linked up by these fine energy threads. It is, for all intents and purposes, a complete schematic. So these golden threads and energy threads you see, they are not just some pretty decorative flourishes. No way. They are the wiring of this blueprint. They explicitly map out how energy circulates and transforms throughout the entire 64-part system, connecting all those individual meridians into one big, cohesive network. Okay, so we have this unbelievably detailed map. The next logical question has to be, how do you actually use it? This is where the diagram stops being a static image and becomes this dynamic tool for meditation and deep contemplation. So the diagram gives you two ways to go. The first one is called ascending from earth to heaven. You start at the very bottom, at the roots, in that foundation of stillness. From there, you picture your breath turning into light, climbing up the trunk, and lighting up each one of those 64 leaves, your body's own energy pathways, until all of that light merges into the empty moon at the top, that state of total peace. Then there's the second path, which just reverses the flow, moving from heaven to earth. You start by focusing your mind on that moon, visualizing its light just radiating down to refine the trees. You see the 64 leaves start to glow with this amber energy, which you then feel flowing all the way back down, returning to rest in that deep foundational pool. It just goes to show this isn't a one-way street, but a dynamic circulating system.
So when you step back and look at the whole thing, what you're really seeing is this remarkable fusion. It's a piece of art that totally honors the aesthetics of traditional ink painting, but at the same time, it functions with the precision of an engineering diagram. And this right here, this is the real game changer. Think about it. A typical mechanical model shows separate parts interacting one after the other, right?
in a straight line. But this blueprint, it visualizes what's called a field interaction. It's a totally holistic system where everything is connected to everything else. Energy doesn't just hop from point A to point B. It radiates through this incredible web where every single point is influencing every other point, all at the same time. I mean, that's a huge shift in thinking.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This diagram took one of the most complex things you could possibly imagine, the flow of energy through the body, through consciousness itself, and it created this beautiful functional blueprint to help us understand it. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What complex part of your own life could use a map just like this?